My dying sister begged me to adopt her kids, but I abandoned them at the hospital after her funeral because I couldn't face her ghost in their eyes. I've been carrying this weight for months, and it's crushing me. I need to tell someone, anyone, before it swallows me whole. This isn't a story with a neat little bow or a redemption arc waiting around the corner. It's a confession, a wound that won't stop bleeding. And if you're here for the long haul, because this is just the beginning, you're about to see how deep it cuts. My name's Mia, I'm 32, and last year I did something unforgivable. My sister begged me to take her kids as she lay dying, and I walked away, left them in a hospital room like forgotten luggage, their cries echoing in my ears. I can still hear them. This is how it started, and trust me, it gets worse. Lila was my big sister, 34, fierce, the kind of person who'd punch life in the face and laugh about it. Growing up in a crumbling trailer park in Ohio, we were a team. 2 girls against a world of unpaid bills, a drunk mom, and a dad who vanished before I could walk. She was my shield, my compass. When I was 6 and some kid stole my lunch, Lila chased him down, tackled him into the mud, and brought it back. Apple bruised, sandwich squashed, but mine. She'd grin, ruffle my hair, and say, "Nobody messes with us, Mia." That was Lila. Wild, loyal, unbreakable. Until she wasn't. She got pregnant at 19, twins, a boy and a girl, with some deadbeat named Kyle, who bailed before they were born. Ethan and Sophie came screaming into the world, tiny and red-faced, and Lala turned soft for them in a way I'd never seen. She dropped out of community college, took a job at a diner, then a factory, piecing together a life in a shitty 1-bedroom apartment. I'd visit, 17 and aimless, and she'd let me crash on her couch, the twins toddling around, smearing peanut butter on my jeans. "You're their auntie, Mia," she'd say, grinning. "Gotta toughen up." I'd roll my eyes, but I loved them. Ethan with his shy giggles, Sophie with her bossy little voice. They were chaos, but they were ours. I moved away at 20, got a job in Chicago, answering phones for an insurance company, chasing something better than Fairhaven's rust and regret. Lila stayed, stubborn as ever, raising those kids alone. We'd talk every week, her voice crackling through my cheap phone, updating me on Ethan's scraped knees, Sophie's latest tantrum. She never asked for help, never complained, even when the factory cut her hours or the rent spiked. "We're fine, Mia," she'd say, laughing. "Twins keep me on my toes." I believed her. I shouldn't have. Last April she called me, voice thin, shaky, not her. "Mia, I'm sick. Real sick." My stomach dropped. "What's wrong?" I asked, gripping the phone. "Cancer," she said flat. "Pancreatic. Docs say it's bad." I couldn't breathe. "How long?" She paused. "Too long. Months, maybe. They're not sure." I was on a bus back to Ohio that night. 12 hours of rattling seats and stale air, my mind spinning. Pancreatic cancer, late stage, aggressive, a death sentence. Lila, my rock, was crumbling and I wasn't ready. She met me at the station, thinner than I'd ever seen, cheeks hollow, eyes sunken, but still her, still forcing that grin. "Don't cry, dummy," she said, hugging me, her bones sharp under my hands. "I'm not dead yet." Ethan and Sophie clung to her legs, 7 now, gangly and loud, oblivious to the storm brewing. We piled into her beat-up Civic, and she drove us home, chattering about the twins' school projects, like nothing was wrong. But I saw it, the way she winced climbing the stairs, the pills rattling in her purse, the cough she tried to hide. She was fading, and I couldn't stop it. The next weeks were a blur. I took leave from work, moved into her apartment, mattress on the floor, dishes piling up. Lila fought. Chemo, radiation, appointments that left her puking in hospital bathrooms. I'd hold her hair, mop her sweat, lie awake listening to her ragged breathing through the thin walls. The twins didn't get it, not fully. Sophie'd ask, "Why's mommy tired?" And I'd mumble, "She's just resting, kiddo," while Ethan stared, silent, his big brown eyes tracking her every move. They'd fight over toys, spill juice, beg for stories, and Lila would try. God, she'd try. Propping herself up to read Goodnight Moon, voice cracking, until she'd collapse, exhausted. I started picking up the slack, cooking mac and cheese, braiding Sophie's hair, walking them to school. Neighbors helped. Mrs. Carter next door brought casseroles. Old Mr. Jim fixed the leaky sink, but it wasn't enough. Bills stacked up. Rent, utilities, medical copays we couldn't cover. I dipped into my savings, $3,000 gone in a month, but it barely dented the debt. Lila saw it, hated it. "You shouldn't be here," she'd whisper late at night, her hand cold in mine. "You've got a life, Mia. Don't waste it." I'd snap, "You're my life, Lila. Shut up." She'd smile, weak, and let it drop. By June, she was worse. Yellow skin, stick thin, barely eating. The doctors pulled me aside. Dr. Patel, a tired guy with graying hair. "It's spreading," he said, voice low. "Liver, lungs, weeks maybe." I nodded, numb, and went back to her room. She was awake, staring at the ceiling. Ethan curled beside her, Sophie sprawled on a chair, crayons scattered. "Mia," she rasped, beckoning me. I sat, her hand trembling as it grabbed mine. "Promise me something." My throat tightened. "Anything." Her eyes locked on mine, fierce even through the haze. "Take the kids. When I'm gone, they need you." I froze. "Lila, don't." She squeezed harder, nails digging in. "Promise me, Mia. You're all they've got. I can't leave them to the system. Foster homes, strangers. They're ours." Tears burned my eyes, but I nodded, choking. "Okay, I promise." She relaxed, sinking back, a ghost of her grin flickering. "Good. You're tougher than you think." I wasn't. I knew it then, felt the lie in my bones, but I couldn't tell her. She needed me to be strong, so I faked it. July hit, and she was a shell. Bedridden, tubes snaking from her arms, a morphine drip dulling the pain. The twins stopped asking questions, just clung to her, silent and scared. I'd sit by her bed, reading their old letters. "Dear Aunt Mia, come visit," until my voice broke. One night she grabbed me, voice a whisper. "You'll be their mom, right? Tell them I love them, every day." I sobbed, "I will, Lila. I swear." She nodded, eyes fluttering shut, and I hoped it'd be enough. August 3rd, she crashed. I'd stepped out for coffee, 5-minute spot. That's it, when the machine screamed. Nurses rushed in, shoving me back, yelling about vitals. Ethan and Sophie huddled in the hall, wide-eyed as I watched through the glass, paddles on her chest, her body jerking, then still. Dr. Patel came out, head bowed. "She's gone, Mia? I'm sorry." I didn't scream, didn't cry, just stood there, hollow, as the twins grabbed my legs, wailing, "Where's mommy?" I couldn't answer, couldn't move. She was gone, and I was drowning. The funeral was a blur. Cheap casket, wilted flowers, a preacher teacher who didn't know her. Neighbors packed the church, whispering, "Poor thing," while the twins sat beside me, clutching my hands. Ethan's suit was too big, Sophie's dress torn at the hem, hand-me-downs from Mrs. Carter. I stared at Lila's photo, grinning, alive, and felt nothing. After at the graveyard, rain soaked us as they lowered her in. Sophie screamed, "Mommy, wake up!" and Ethan just shook, silent tears streaking his face. I held them, soaked and shivering, promising myself I'd keep my word. I had to. But that night, back at the hospital, where we'd gone to grab her things, it hit me. Nurses handed me a bag, Lila's purse, her worn sweater, a half-eaten candy bar. The twins sat in the waiting room, Ethan kicking the chair, Sophie hugging a ratty teddy bear. A social worker approached, middle-aged, clipboard in hand. "You're their guardian now?" she asked, voice-clipped. I nodded, mute. "Good. We'll need paperwork, custody forms, IDs. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. She walked off and I stared at them. 2 kids, 7 years old, mine now. My chest tightened, breath short. I couldn't do this. I don't know when the panic started. Maybe when Sophie whimpered, "Are we going home?" Or when Ethan looked up, eyes like Lila's, pleading. It clawed at me, a black, suffocating thing. I wasn't a mom. I was a mess, barely scraping by, no savings left, no plan. Lila's apartment was a dump, mold in the walls, eviction notices piling up. My job wouldn't wait forever. My lease in Chicago was expiring. How could I feed them, clothe them, raise them? They'd look at me every day, expecting her strength, her love, and I'd fail. I'd ruin them. I grabbed the bag, told them, "Wait here," and walked down the hall. My legs moved on their own, past the nurse's station, the vending machines, the exit sign glowing green. I kept going, rain slapping my face, Lila's sweater clutched to my chest. Their voices, Sophie's sob, Ethan's Aunt Mia, chased me, but I didn't turn back. I left them there, abandoned in that sterile room, and ran. Got in my car, drove, didn't stop until I hit a gas station 20 miles out, shaking so hard I couldn't light my cigarette. I'd broken my promise. I'd broken them. I'm back, and if you thought the first part was heavy, this one's gonna sink even deeper. I'm Mia, 32, and I'm still reeling from what I did, leaving my sister's kids, Ethan and Sophie, in that hospital room after her funeral, their cries chasing me into the rain. I'm not here to defend it, not really, but I need you to understand. I didn't walk away to hurt them. I was drowning, trapped under a weight I couldn't carry, a life I wasn't built for, and running was the only way I could breathe. This isn't the end. God, we're nowhere close. But it's the next piece of the mess I made, and it's uglier than you think. Here's what happened after I fled. That gas station, 20 miles from the hospital, was where I crashed, literally and figuratively. My hands shook so bad I couldn't light my cigarette, rain plastering my hair to my face, Lila's sweater soaked and heavy in my lap. I sat in my car, engine off, staring at the neon open sign flickering through the downpour. My phone buzzed. Texts from Mrs. Carter, the neighbor. "Where are you?" Kids are asking. I couldn't answer. Couldn't face it. I just buried my sister, my anchor, and those twins, 7 years old, clinging to me like I was their lifeline, were a responsibility I'd never signed up for. I wasn't their mom. I wasn't even close to whole. The drive back to Chicago was a haze. 6 hours of wet highways, my windshield wipers squeaking, my mind screaming. I kept seeing them. Sophie's tear-streaked face, Ethan's silent stare, Lila's voice in my head. "Take them, Mia. They need you." I'd promised her, swore on her deathbed I'd be their everything, but the second that social worker handed me those forms, the walls closed in. Custody, paperwork, a crumbling apartment I couldn't afford, a job I'd already stretched too thin. I was a receptionist, not a savior. $12 an hour, a studio with peeling paint, no savings left after her bills. How was I supposed to raise 2 kids when I could barely raise myself? I got home at dawn, August 4th, the sky gray and heavy, matching the pit in my chest. My apartment smelled like stale coffee and neglect. I'd been gone 4 months, chasing Lila's ghost. The answering machine blinked. 17 messages. "Work. Mia, your leave's up. We need you Monday, or you're out. Landlord. Rent's late. 2 weeks or eviction." Mrs. Carter again. "Social services took the twins. Where are you?" I sank to the floor, head in my hands, and sobbed. Deep, choking sobs that hurt my ribs. They'd taken them. Ethan and Sophie, ripped from their home, their mom's memory because I'd run. I wasn't cruel. I was scared, broken, a victim of a world that didn't care. But that didn't change the truth. I'd failed them. I tried calling Mrs. Carter back, hands trembling as I dialed. She picked up, voice sharp. "Mia, what the hell? They're gone. Foster care, some stranger's house. You left them there." I stammered. I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. She cut me off, furious. "They cried for you all night, Mia. Sophie wouldn't let go of that damn bear. Ethan just sat there, asking for you. You're their aunt." Her words stabbed, each one a jagged truth. "I'm sorry," I whispered, but she hung up, leaving me with static and silence. I wasn't abandoning them to be mean. I was abandoning them because I was drowning, and I didn't know how to swim with their weight too. Work called again that afternoon. My boss, Cheryl, clipped and cold. "Monday, 9 a.m. or don't bother coming back." I had 3 days to pull myself together, but I was a wreck, unshowered, still in yesterday's clothes. Lila's sweater crumpled beside me. I couldn't eat. Every bite tasted like ash. I kept picturing the twins, Sophie clutching that teddy, Ethan's quiet stares, wondering where they were. A foster home? Some cold, unfamiliar place with rules and strangers? I'd seen the system. Kids from our trailer park shuffled through it, coming back hollow or worse. Lila had fought to keep them out of that, and I'd let her down in hours. Sunday night, I dragged myself to the shower, stood under scalding water, trying to wash away the guilt. It didn't work. My reflection, pale, bags under my eyes, hair a wet tangle, looked like a stranger's. I forced down a slice of stale bread, packed a lunch I wouldn't eat, and lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Monday came, and I went to work. Zombie walking through the lobby, sitting at my desk, answering calls with a voice that wasn't mine. "Thank you for calling Midland Insurance. How can I assist?" Over and over, a robot on autopilot, while my mind spun. "Where are they? Are they okay? Did I kill them too?" Cheryl cornered me at lunch, arms crossed. "You look like hell, Mia. What's going on?" I mumbled. "Family stuff. My sister died." Her face softened, but only a flicker. "Sorry, but you've been gone too long. One more slip and you're out. We're not a charity." I nodded, throat tight, and went back to my calls. The day dragged. 8 hours of monotony, every ring a a reminder of the phone I wasn't answering, the calls I wasn't making to find them. I couldn't. Not yet. I was too fragile, too afraid of what I'd hear. That night, I broke. Dug through my closet, found an old photo. Me and Lila, 15 and 17, grinning at a county fair, cotton candy sticking to our fingers. The twins weren't born yet, but her eyes had that spark, that fire I'd lost. I clutched it, sobbing until my chest ached, whispering, "I'm sorry, Lila. I'm so sorry." I wasn't heartless. I was helpless. A victim of timing, of poverty, of a promise too big for my brittle bones. I'd wanted to save them, to be the aunt they deserved, but life had beaten me down. Our drunk mom, our broke childhood, Lila's cancer sucking me dry. I was empty, and they needed full. Days blurred into weeks. Work was a lifeline, kept me busy, kept the rent paid, barely. I'd come home, collapse on my couch, stare at the wall. Mrs. Carter called again, softer this time. "Mia, they're in Dayton, a group home. They're not good. Sophie's fighting. Ethan shut down. You need to see them." My stomach twisted. Dayton, 2 hours away, a city of gray concrete and lost hopes. "I can't," I said, voice shaking. "I can't face them." She sighed. "You're all they've got left, Mia. Don't make it worse." She gave me the address, hung up, and I sat there, paralyzed. I tried going once. Saturday, August 20th, I drove halfway, hands wide on the wheel, radio off. The closer I got, the louder Lila's voice rang. "Take them, Mia." I saw their faces, Sophie's tears, Ethan's silence, and panicked. Pulled into a rest stop, hyperventilating, tears streaming. I couldn't do it, couldn't look into their eyes and see her, see my failure. I turned back, drove home, curled up under a blanket, shaking. I wasn't abandoning them to be cruel. I was abandoning them because I was a victim too, crushed by grief, by a system that didn't care, by a promise I'd made with no map to keep it. Work got harder. Cheryl noticed, snapped at me for dropped calls, late mornings. "Shape up, Mia, or you're gone." I tried. God, I tried, but my hands shook, my voice cracked, customers complained. September 1st, she fired me. "You're a liability," she said, handing me my last check, $300, not enough for rent. I walked out, numb, the city blurring past me, honking horns, shouting vendors, a world moving while I sank. My landlord tacked an eviction notice to my door that week. 30 days to pay or get out, nothing. No job, no money, no Lila, no twins. I was a ghost, drifting through a life I'd lost control of. I called Mrs. Carter, desperate. "What's happening to them?" She sighed, voice heavy. "Sophie's in trouble. Bit a kid, broke a window. Ethan's not talking, not eating much. They need you, Mia." I choked. "I can't. I'm falling apart." She softened. "I get it, hon, but they're falling too. Someone's gotta catch them." I hung up, sobbing, her words a knife. I wasn't mean. I was trapped, a victim of my own limits, of a world that chewed up people like me and spat them out. I wanted to save them, but I couldn't save myself. October crept in, cold and gray. I pawned my TV, sold my couch, $200 total, enough for half a month's rent. I ate ramen, drank tap water, sat in the dark to save power. My phone rang. Unknown number, Dayton area code. I answered, heart pounding. A woman's voice, stern. "Mia Kessler, this is Janet Klein, social worker. Ethan and Sophie are in our care. You're listed as next of kin. We need you here, tomorrow 10 a.m., or we move them to permanent placement." My mouth went dry. "I can't." She cut me off. "They're asking for you, Mia. Don't make me tell them you're not coming." Click. I dropped the phone, shaking. Permanent placement. Strangers, foster homes, split up maybe. Lila's worst fear, the one she died begging me to stop. I saw them, Sophie's wild curls, Ethan's quiet hands, and felt her hand on mine, her dying plea. They're ours. I wasn't abandoning them to hurt them. I was abandoning them because I was a victim, crushed under grief, poverty, a life that wouldn't bend. But that call cracked something open, a sliver of fight I didn't know I had. I didn't go. Not yet, but I couldn't run forever. October 2nd, that social worker's call still rang in my ears. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., or they're gone for good. Ethan and Sophie, 7 years old, asking for me while I hid in my crumbling Chicago apartment, jobless, half evicted, eating scraps. I couldn't sleep. Lila's voice haunted me. "They're ours, Mia." Her dying grip on my hand, a ghost I couldn't shake. I wasn't cruel. I was cracked, a shell of a woman crushed by a life that never gave me a chance. But those kids, my blood, were slipping away, and I couldn't let them vanish into the system like we'd feared growing up. I had to try. I scraped together what I had, $47 from pawning my last necklace, a gas card with $10 left, and hit the road at dawn, October 3rd. 2 hours to Dayton, my beat-up Corolla rattling, heat off to save fuel. The group home was a squat brick building, peeling paint, bars on the windows, kids' shouts echoing from a fenced yard. I parked, hands shaking, and walked in, clutching Lila's sweater like a lifeline. Janet Klein met me, stern, graying, clipboard in hand. "You're late," she snapped, checking her watch. 10:15. "I drove all night," I lied, voice hoarse. She sighed. "They're upstairs. Follow me." The hall smelled like bleach and despair, flickering lights, scuffed linoleum, kids' drawings taped crookedly to the walls. She led me to a small room, 2 cots, a cracked mirror, toys strewn across the floor. Ethan and Sophie sat there, backs to me, smaller than I remembered. Sophie clutched her teddy, now missing an ear, muttering to it. Ethan stared at the wall, hands limp, a shadow of the boy who'd giggled at Lila's stories. "Kids," Janet said, "your aunt's here." They turned and my heart stopped. Sophie's eyes red and wild, Ethan's blank, hollow like Lila's when the cancer won. Sophie lunged first, dropped the bear, ran at me, fists pounding my legs. "You left us, she screamed, voice raw, tears streaming. Ethan didn't move, just watched, silent, accusing. I knelt, grabbing her wrists. "I'm sorry, Soph, I'm so sorry," but she yanked free, sobbing. "I hate you, Mommy's gone and you left." Janet stepped in, pulling her back, while I stood, shaking, tears burning my face. "I didn't mean to," I choked. I was scared. Ethan finally spoke, voice a whisper. "You promised." That broke me, his quiet blame, Lila's echo in his tone. Janet sat us down, me on a wobbly chair, the twins on a cot, glaring through tears. "They've been here 2 months," she said, flipping papers. "Sophie's fighting, bit a kid, smashed a lamp. Ethan's not eating, barely talks. They need stability, Mia, or they're split up. Foster homes, maybe adoption." My stomach dropped. "Split up," she nodded, cold. "We can't keep them together if you don't take them. Tomorrow's the deadline." I stammered. "I don't have a job, a place. They're evicting me. She cut me off. Figure it out or they're gone. Sign here if you're taking them. She slid forms across, custody papers, a pen trembling in my hand. I didn't sign. Not then. I need time, I begged, voice cracking. Janet frowned. You've had time. 24 hours, Mia, or I call the state. I nodded, numb, and looked at the twins. Sophie turned away, hugging her bear. Ethan stared, unblinking. I'll be back, I said, but Sophie muttered, liar, and Ethan didn't react. I left, legs jelly, rain soaking me again as I stumbled to my car. I wasn't abandoning them to be mean. I was a victim, cornered by a system that didn't care, a life that kept kicking me down. But I had one day to save them, and I was out of moves. Back in Chicago, I scrambled, called my old boss, Cheryl, voicemail, begged my landlord, laughed off, pay or pack, Mia. I pawned my phone, $30, leaving me cut off, alone. Night fell, and I sat in my darkening apartment, eviction notice taped to the door, Lila's sweater my only warmth. I couldn't let them go, not to strangers, not split apart, but I had nothing. No money, no home, no plan. Panic clawed at me, a black fog I couldn't shake. Then it hit, a desperate, stupid idea. Lila's old landlord owed her a deposit, $500, maybe more. She'd fought for it, never got it. If I could get that, I'd have something. Rent, food, a start. October 4th, 3 a.m. I drove back to Fairhaven. 2 hours, gas fumes, my hands white on the wheel. The apartment complex was a ghost town, cracked pavement, flickering streetlights. Unit 12, Lila's old place, glowed faintly. New tenants, but the landlord's office was downstairs. I banged on the door. Mr. Hayes, a greasy guy in his 50s, bleary-eyed in a bathrobe. What the hell, Mia? He growled. Lila's deposit, I said, voice shaking. You owe her us $500. I need it now. He laughed, sour. She's dead. No proof, no cash. Get lost. I snapped. She paid you every dime, you leech. Her kids need it. He smirked. Prove it in court, sweetheart, and slammed the door. Rage boiled over. Years of him gouging us, Lila's gaunt face begging for those twins. I wasn't thinking, just reacting. A victim pushed too far. I grabbed a brick from the lot, smashed his office window, glass shattering, alarm blaring. He ran out, yelling, you're done, as I kicked through the shards, screaming, give me her money. I rifled his desk, papers, pens, a petty cash box, $200 in crumpled bills. I took it, hands shaking, and ran. Cops caught me a block away. Lights flashing, sirens wailing, my car stalled on empty. Hands up, they barked, guns drawn. I dropped the cash, sobbing, it's for my sister's kids. They cuffed me, cold metal biting my wrists, reading rights I barely heard. Hayes pressed charges, burglary, vandalism, theft. Station was a blur, mugshot, fingerprints, a cell with a flickering bulb. I wasn't a criminal, I was desperate, a victim of a world that left me no outs, clawing for a lifeline that wasn't there. Court was fast. October 10th, a public defender who barely looked at me. Plead guilty, he said, or it's worse. I did, head down, voice small. Guilty. Judge was a blur. 60 days, county jail, $1,000 fine I'd never pay. You're a danger, Miss Kessler, he said, gavel cracking. I wasn't, I was broken, a sister who'd lost everything, trying to keep a promise I couldn't. They took me away, shackles clinking, the twins and faces, Sophie's fury, Ethan's silence, burning in my mind. Jail was hell. Gray walls, stale air, women coughing in the night. I got one call. Mrs. Carter, my only lifeline. Mia, what happened? She gasped. I tried. I choked for them. I messed up. She sighed. They're gone. State took them yesterday. Split up. Sophie's in Toledo, Ethan's in Akron. My knees buckled. Bars cold against my forehead. Split up? I whispered. Yeah, she said, soft. You weren't there. I dropped the phone, sobbing, raw, guttural, until a guard yelled, time's up. They were gone. Torn apart because I'd failed again. A victim of my own collapse. Days dragged. 60 of them, each a knife. I shared a cell with Tara, tattooed loud in for shoplifting. What's your deal? She asked. First night. Stole for my niece and nephew. I mumbled. She nodded. Family screws you worst. I didn't sleep. Saw Lila's face, heard Sophie's screams, Ethan's quiet, you promised. Food was slop. Gray oatmeal, cold beans. I ate to survive, not live. Guards barked. Move it, Kessler. At roll call, inmates sneered. Crybaby when I broke down. I wasn't a monster. I was trapped. A victim of a system that didn't see me. A life that didn't bend. Halfway through, day 30, a letter came. Mrs. Carter, shaky handwriting. Mia, I saw Sophie. She's angry, fights everyone. Ethan's worse, won't speak, barely moves. They need you, but it's too late. I'm sorry. I clutched it, sobbing into my thin pillow, the paper crumpling. I'd tried. God, I'd tried. But desperation landed me here, caged while they suffered. I wrote back, hands trembling. Tell them I love them. I didn't mean this. No reply came. Mail was slow, or she gave up. I was alone, a victim of my own ruin. Lila's dream shredded. Release day, December 9th, dawned cold. They handed me my clothes. Lila's sweater, damp and stained. $5 for a bus, no home to go to. I stepped out, free but not. The jail's gray bulk behind me. My apartment was gone. Evicted, stuff trashed. Jobless, penniless. I wandered. Chicago's wind biting my face, snow soaking my sneakers. I wasn't evil. I was lost. A sister who'd fought a losing war. Now a convict with nothing left. The twins were scattered. Sophie raging, Ethan fading, and I'd never find them. Lila's voice faded, her plea a whisper I couldn't answer. I sit now, some shelter cot, a borrowed pen, writing this, the end of my fall. Jail didn't break me, losing them did. I didn't abandon them to hurt them. I abandoned them because I was a victim, crushed by grief, broke beyond repair, a promise I couldn't keep. I'm here, alive but dead, and they're gone, split by a world I couldn't fight. That's it, the story's done, and I'm the wreckage left behind.